If you're learning to drive, or even if you just ride in cars a lot, you probably realize that steering isn't the hardest part.
Not at all.
The single biggest skill for staying safe, it's not parallel parking or anything like that, it's managing your speed.
We call it tempo control. And it's so much more than just looking at a speed limit sign.
Right.
It's a driver's ability to constantly adjust the car's speed and its pace based on, well, everything. The road, the weather, other cars.
Okay, so let's get into this. We have a lot of facts and some pretty shocking physics about how speed actually works.
Hmm.
For you listening, understanding this idea of tempo control is the key. It's the shortcut to being a safe, predictable, and even an efficient driver.
It is. It prevents accidents, and it keeps traffic flowing smoothly the way it's supposed to.
It's not something you just set and forget.
No, it's a continuous process.
Yeah.
You're using the gas pedal and the brakes, your two main tools, literally every few seconds to adjust.
So if you can master that relationship between your speed and the distance you need to stop,
You've mastered the foundation of driving.
and the main piece of data for all this is right there on the dashboard, the speedometer.
It's not just a decoration.
No, not at all. Its job is to give you the exact miles per hour, the mph, your car is traveling.
And that number is absolutely vital. You can't just guess how fast you're going. That's just not safe.
So you need to be glancing down at that gauge pretty frequently.
Constantly. Whether it's a needle or a digital number, that figure is how you maintain a steady, appropriate pace.
And if you see that number creeping up too high, that's your signal to adjust.
And a lot of times, that adjustment is about obeying the law. That's why we have speed limits in the first place.
We tend to think of them as just rules, maybe something restrictive.
But they're really a safety tool.
Mm.
They are set by law, and they're calculated very carefully based on the road's design and how much traffic is expected.
Okay, let's look at the difference. Why is the speed limit in a neighborhood so often just, say, 25 miles per hour?
It's all about protecting people who are most vulnerable. Pedestrians, kids on bikes.
Right.
At 25, if a driver sees a ball roll into the street, they have a pretty good chance of stopping before a kid runs out after it,
But if that same driver is going 45...
which is less than double the speed.
Yeah.
The time and distance needed to stop almost guarantees a tragedy. Slower speeds in crowded places just buy you more time to react.
And then you get on a huge highway, no crosswalks, traffic is all going one way, and the limit jumps to 65, maybe 70.
The environment dictates the tempo. Following those limits is just the starting line for good tempo control.
So you're saying the sign is the absolute maximum speed for perfect conditions.
Exactly, but often the conditions demand you go slower.
Okay, let's talk about the mechanics of that. Changing your speed, starting with deceleration or just slowing down. How do we do it?
Well, it starts the moment your foot leaves the gas pedal. The car starts to coast.
But the real power comes from the brake pedal.
Right, and when you press it, the car does this really cool physics trick. It converts kinetic energy,
The energy of motion.
the energy of motion, into heat. It does that using friction.
That's the brake pads grabbing the wheels, basically.
And that conversion creates a lot of heat. That's why your brakes can get really hot.
Like if you're driving down a long, steep mountain.
Exactly. If you just ride the brakes the whole way down, you're creating massive amounts of heat. Too much can cause something called brake fade.
And that's when they stop working as well.
It's extremely dangerous.
Uh.
Good drivers know to shift to a lower gear or use the car's natural resistance to slow down before relying only on the brakes.
So beyond the physics, what does skilled, smooth braking look like?
It's planned. You do it early and you do it gradually. You should almost never have to slam on your brakes.
If you do, it means you weren't paying attention.
Or you are following way too closely. Gradual braking keeps the ride smooth, and more importantly, it gives the driver behind you a clear warning so they have time to slow down too.
So a sudden jerky stop is kind of a red flag.
It's a huge red flag that a driver isn't managing their tempo correctly. It's all about mastering that foot pressure.
Okay, what about the opposite? Acceleration, speeding up. What separates a good driver from a bad one here?
Again, it's smoothness. If you just stomp on the gas pedal, the car jerks. Or if it's wet, the tires can slip and spin.
So what's the goal then?
The goal is to reach the speed of the traffic around you as quickly, but also as safely as you can.
Why is getting up to speed quickly so important when you're merging onto a highway?
Because you can't be a slow-moving obstacle. If traffic is flowing at 65 and you're trying to merge at 45, you're forcing everyone to brake or swerve around you.
You're creating a massive risk.
A huge risk. Skilled tempo control means accelerating to match the flow in that merge lane before you actually enter the stream of traffic.
This all brings us to where physics really becomes the boss, the role of time and distance. This is where I think most people really underestimate the danger of speed.
It all comes down to one thing: reaction time.
Okay, define that for us.
So imagine the car in front of you suddenly slams on its brakes. Reaction time is the clock that starts ticking the moment you see that hazard.
And ends when your foot actually hits your own brake pedal.
Exactly. It's the time it takes for your brain to process the danger and send the signal to your foot.
Even for someone who is totally focused, how long does that take?
Most studies show it takes about 1.5 seconds.
1.5 seconds. That sounds so fast.
It does. For anyone who plays video games, think of it like lag. It's the delay between you seeing something and your character actually doing it.
But the shocking part is how far your car moves in that 1.5 seconds. You haven't even started braking yet.
Get this. At 60 miles per hour, your car is traveling 88 feet every single second.
Wow.
So in that 1.5 seconds it takes you to react, you've already traveled over 130 feet. That's longer than a professional basketball court.
That is terrifying.
It is.
It means if you get distracted, look at your phone for just 2 seconds, you could cover half a football field totally blind to what's happening.
And that reality is the reason for the most important rule of tempo control: following distance.
The space between your car and the one ahead.
It's your safety cushion. It's everything.
So what's the rule that experts always recommend?
The 3-second rule. You need to stay at least 3 seconds behind the car in front of you at all times.
How do you measure that?
It's easy. When the car ahead of you passes a fixed object, like a road sign, you start counting. 1001, 1002, 1003.
And if you pass that same sign before you finish counting?
You're following too closely. You need to back off.
And that 3 seconds covers your reaction time plus the time it actually takes the brakes to slow the car down.
Precisely. And here's where tempo changes everything. As your speed goes up, the physical distance of that 3-second gap gets way bigger.
So at 30 miles an hour, 3 seconds isn't that far.
Maybe 130 feet. But at 70 miles per hour, it's closer to the 300 feet. If you tailgate at high speed, you are just ignoring physics.
And you're basically guaranteeing a crash if that person in front has to stop suddenly.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's shift gears. How does the environment, like the weather, force you to change your tempo?
Weather is maybe the biggest variable. It completely changes the amount of friction your tires have.
You mean grip?
Grip, yeah. Rain, snow, ice. They make the road incredibly slippery. The water acts like a lubricant between your tires and the asphalt.
So if you have less friction, the distance you need to stop just gets huge.
It gets much, much longer. A smart driver knows that on a wet road, you have to drive below the speed limit. If the sign says 55, a safe tempo might only be 40.
And then there's the risk of hydroplaning.
Which is terrifying. That's when your tires completely lose contact with the road and just skim across the water. Your car becomes an uncontrolled sled.
Visibility is another big one. Fog or even just sun glare.
Right. The core principle is you have to match your speed to your line of sight. If you can only see a couple of car lengths ahead in dense fog, you have to slow way down.
Because your reaction time doesn't matter if you can't even see the danger in the first place.
Yes.
And then there's the physics of turning. You always see those yellow signs on a curve advising a slower speed. Why is that so critical?
It's because of inertia. The laws of physics want your car to keep going in a straight line.
And when you turn the wheel, you're fighting that.
You're trying to force it to change direction. And that creates a sideways force that's pulling the car to the outside of the curve.
And the only thing stopping that is the grip of your tires.
Correct. If your tempo is too high, that outward force can overwhelm the friction. The tires lose their grip.
And that's when you start to slide. Or worse.
Or worse, you roll over. So the rule is simple, but people ignore it all the time. You have to slow down to a safe speed before you start the turn.
Not in the middle of it.
Never in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And here's a neat trick. Once you're about halfway through the curve, gently accelerating again actually increases stability. It presses the tires more firmly to the road.
Okay, so this really shows how different driving environments demand different kinds of tempo control, like city versus highway.
Totally different worlds. City driving is a low overall speed, but a very high cognitive load. You have to think about a lot.
Frequent stops, intersections, bikes, pedestrians.
Exactly. You're constantly scanning. The challenge in the city is managing the accordion effect.
That's when one person brakes hard, and it causes a chain reaction down the line.
Right. Good city tempo control means you anticipate those stops, you coast more, and you keep a steady, conservative pace.
And the highway is the complete opposite.
It's high, consistent speed. The challenge there isn't stopping and starting, it's maintaining focus for a long time while moving very fast.
And changing lanes is a bigger deal.
Much bigger. Because the tempo is so high, a car in your rearview mirror that looks far away might be on top of you in just a few seconds. So you have to signal, check your mirrors, check your blind spot every single time.
Beyond safety, there's a financial reason to master this. Fuel efficiency. How does driving too fast or too aggressively cost you money?
It's all about wind resistance, or air drag. As your car moves, it's physically pushing air out of the way.
And the faster you go, the harder your engine has to work to do that.
Right. But here's the crazy part. It's not a linear relationship.
Yeah.
If you double your speed, say from 40 to 80 miles per hour, the wind resistance doesn't double.
What does it do?
It quadruples.
Wow. So you're fighting the air 4 times harder.
Exactly. That's why most cars get their best gas mileage at a steady speed, usually between 50 and 60 miles per hour. It's a sweet spot.
And this goes back to what you said about jerky movements.
Rapid acceleration and hard braking just wastes gas, and that causes a lot of extra wear and tear on your engine and your brakes. Smooth tempo control literally saves you money.
Finally, we should probably talk about how modern tech is getting involved. Cars are starting to help with tempo control.
They are. Technology is trying to take some of that mental load off the driver. It started with basic cruise control, which just holds a set speed.
But now we have adaptive cruise control, ACC.
And that's a game changer. It uses radar and sensors to read the road ahead.
So if you set your speed for 70, but the car in front of you slows down to 60,
your car will automatically slow down too. It maintains that safe following distance for you. It's basically doing the 3-second rule automatically.
that sounds like it could make a driver start paying attention.
And that's the critical warning. It does not replace you. We also have things like automatic emergency braking, AEB, that can stop the car if a crash is about to happen.
But these are safety nets.
They're assists. They're not replacements. The driver is always the one who is ultimately responsible.
So even with all this tech, why is the human still the most important part?
Because the technology has limits. Adaptive cruise control only looks straight ahead. It doesn't see a car cutting you off from the side or a sudden patch of ice. The human brain is still the only thing that can handle all the complex, unexpected judgments you have to make on the road.
That makes perfect sense. Mastering tempo control, understanding that relationship between speed, your reaction time, and your stopping distance, it really is the most fundamental skill in driving.
It's a constant battle with and respect for the laws of physics. The next time you're in a car, watch the speedometer. See if the driver is planning ahead, managing that space. You'll start to see that driving isn't just a simple skill. It's applied science in motion.
Good luck with your studies.